Hello, I'm Graham Horton and welcome to this video. Now this video is all about transferring files of images from your cameras to your smartphone. Now there seems to be a resurgence in people purchasing second-hand cameras like this Lumix TZ10 or even the earlier models like the FS4. These are very pocketable devices and can provide you with fantastic image quality for very low output. So people are trying smartphones, finding they're very convenient, but sometimes the image quality can leave a little bit to desired, and these cameras can bridge that gap between what you need and what you've got. So the question is, how do you transfer the images from your camera to your smartphone so you can upload them to things like social media? In this video I'm going to show you a few ways of transferring the files from the camera to your smartphone. Depending on whether you've got the older iPhone with the lightning adapter or the new one with the USB-C, or you've got an Android device with USB-C, I'll be showing you some methods by which you can transfer those files from your camera to your smartphone. We're not going to touch on the later cameras with Wi-Fi. I've already done a video for that and I'll put a link to that in the video description as well. If you like, this is going to be an update to the video I created some years ago about transferring files from your camera to your smartphone or tablet. So this is one updated in 2025. So first of all, we're going to look at the old iPhone with the lightning port on the base. So this is an iPhone 13 Pro. I'm going to transfer images from this little pocket camera, the Panasonic Lumix LX5, but it could be the same as the TZ10 or the FS4 or a bridge camera or any of the Panasonic cameras with a USB interface. So we're going to look first of all at using the proprietary cable that comes with these cameras to transfer images from the camera to your PC. But in this case we're not going to be using a PC, we're going to transfer them to your smartphone. The proprietary cable is different for each of the models, but generally they're a small plug on the end with a USB-A. So that's the one we'll be using first of all, and then we'll be looking at using a SD card reader to speed up the process, but again it will depend on whether you want to use your card reader or just the proprietary cable. So let's make a start with the iPhone 13 and the LX5. To help us transfer the files, we'll need this adapter. This is the Apple official adapter, which is Lightning to USB-A, but you can use third-party devices like this one, which does support both SD card and micro SD card. Got an inbuilt port here so you can actually power the device using a Lightning to USB-A and a power bank, and also the USB-A so we can attach the proprietary cable. And there are other devices which include a LAN port as well if you're using this for other devices. So we'll use first of all this standard Apple Lightning plug. So it needs to be plugged into the base of the iPhone 13, and then we've got the LX5 here. I'm going to plug in that proprietary plug into the port on the side of the camera. Then we can attach the USB-A to USB-A of the configuration. We're going to be using the inbuilt Photos app for transfer, so let's just open the Photos app. And I'm going to start the camera by turning it on, and it's important to watch the screen on power up. So you'll get this description on the back of the camera which says please select the USB mode, pick bridge or PC. We need to select PC if it's not already selected. Press menu set, and then you'll find that the camera will communicate with the smartphone. So it says connecting to PC, which in this case is a smartphone. You'll see access going on, which is the communication between the two devices. And on your smartphone now, you can see that we've got this extra menu that's popped up. It says untitled because the SD card in this camera doesn't have a title. We've got the symbol here for the camera and the SD card. We just tap that and it shows us all the images that are on that SD card within the camera. We're going to now transfer the files, so we're going to select the ones that we want to transfer, but we need to select where we're going to transfer them to. So import to your library is the default option, so if you tap that, it says do you want to your library or which of the created library icons you want to transfer those files to. I'm going to create a new album just for this process, so I'm going to click the plus for the new album. I'm going to create the album name, so I'm going to call this the LX5 images and click the create icon. So it now says we will import from the camera to my library under the LX5 directory. I'm going to select just a couple of images here, and I'm going to select import and then import the selected. You can import all the files or just the ones that you've selected. So we're going to select those three. So I'm going to now touch import selected, so I just tap that. You can see the ones we've selected have now turned green and they've been imported to my library LX5 images. So if I just close this down and I go to my libraries, if I scroll up, you can see I get to my libraries and you can see I've now created this LX5 with the images. So that's how you transfer the files using the proprietary cable. Want now to look at how you do that using an SD card reader. So we're going to unplug the cable here, which is the Apple to USB, and disconnect the proprietary cable from the camera. We'll remove the SD card from the camera. And now we need a USB card reader, so we'll use this one. Again, it's Lightning to USB and the SD card reader is inbuilt. So I'll plug that into, again, the Lightning port, and now we'll insert the card into the card reader, and again I'll select the Photos app, and if we just scroll back to the end of the main library, when I insert this SD card into the SD card slot, push that home, it's now brought up the Untitled again in this menu section. Again, I can just tap that and it will show me, first of all, any items that have been transferred as their status is flagged on the image itself, but I've still got 15 items that I can transfer across. Import to your library, or again I could select the library that I want them to go to, so we're going to go the LX5. So we're going to transfer them to LX5 images, and we'll transfer another 3 images to that device. So we'll tap import, import selected, and again you can see it's transferred them across. But this time it said, do you want to keep the images on the camera SD card or delete them? So we'll keep them in this case, but you can see the 3 images that have gone across and gone to the library with LX5 images. So if I close this down, and again if we scroll up, LX5 images, I've actually got 2 directories, so you can see the ones that I transferred across. So that's how you do it using a SD card reader, which is the fastest way of doing it. So you also need to buy a specific SD card reader for your particular phone, be it the Lightning adapter, or as we'll see with the later cameras, the iPhone 15 and above, we're into a USB-C socket. So let's look at transferring files into the later iPhones using USB-C. So now we'll look at transferring files from our Panasonic Lumix LX5 over a cable, that proprietary cable, to the USB-C enabled iPhone 16 Pro. It could also be the Android, which I'll show you in a moment. To do that, of course, we need an adapter which will take us from USB-A to USB-C. So this will plug into the camera. You can also use one like this one that's got a built-in SD card reader with a pass-through to give me USB-A. So it's going to be a bit more convenient to use, so I'll use this one, but any USB-C to USB-A adapter will work. So that plugs into the port again of the iPhone 16, plugged into the base, and we plug our proprietary cable into the USB-A socket of that, plug the proprietary cable into again the LX5 socket for the digital output or USB output, back into the Photos app, and again when we turn on the camera we should see the usual warning, which is select the USB mode. So we want the PC, press menu set, you get the connection to PC, the access point, and then you'll see access as it transfers across the thumbnails to the camera. On the smartphone you notice now we've got this lozenge shape menu item with the word import that has just popped up. So now to select the images we will just need to click import, and again you've got the items that you can select. 6 items have already been imported because I've got this camera and the iPhone 13 already iCloud tied, so when they're uploaded onto one phone they're immediately available on the other phone via iCloud. But still we've got these other images here which I can transfer. So I'm going to transfer another 6 images, and it says import selected, so I'll click import selected. It asks me where I want to send them, to the library or choose an album. So let's choose an album. So since I've already got LX5 images on this phone, let me add them to the LX5 image file. So I'm going to select LX5 images, and you can now see that it's imported them and the icons have now turned green, so it has now imported those items. So let's select another 3. So you see that ticks are now blue, import selected, choose your album, LX5 images, and they have now turned green as they've been imported. So you can see on the top of the menu here it says syncing 4 items, so those items are now being synced over the iCloud to the iCloud storage, and then they will be available on my iPhone 13 should I want them. To view those files I can either look at them here directly on the main library, or I can go into my collections and I can see the LX5 images there, and they're the ones I've just transferred across. And you can see that it nicely cycles through those images, and you can see that's there. Let's do the same now with the SD card reader, so you can see how fast it is over the SD card compared to using that proprietary cable. So here I've got the SD card which I just removed from the LX5, and I'm going to place it in the SD card reader which is attached to that USB-C input. Just slide that into the reader, and again you should see import pop up on that lozenge shape icon at the bottom. So as before we just need to touch import, and again it knows we've already imported 15 items, and the ones that are still available are down here. So I'm going to select those 3, import selected, and I'm going to choose my album, back to the LX5 images, and you can see they've all gone green. And as before with the previous camera, we now get the option to either delete them from the card or keep them on the card. So we'll keep them on the card. And again, if we go to collections, we can see the new images that have now been transferred through to that directory. So it's a very simple process, and if you've got the older cameras like the FS4, which I'll be showing in an upcoming video about the use of these old, if you like, nostalgic cameras, which are available in most thrift shops or even on exchange sites like CEX for as little as £30 these days. So they're a very cost-effective way of getting some rather decent pictures, and I'll be taking you through the process of capturing, transferring and editing using those cameras in an upcoming video. So if you want to see that, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you've not already subscribed, and also that bell notification icon, and then you will be advised when that video has been uploaded. We're now going to look at transferring files into Android devices, and here I've got the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, but any of the Android based phones like the Google Pixels will be the same method. So let me set up this Galaxy on the table and we'll transfer some files again over a proprietary cable and then using the card reader. So I've got the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra set up on the table. You can see it here. We've got the smartphone. I've got that USB-C to the card reader attached. So we'll start by importing files from the card to the device. We don't use the gallery, or I have not found a direct way of using gallery. We have to use what's called the files command, and you'll find the files under the Google configurations. So if we're going into files, you notice at the bottom of all storage we've got USB storage here. So we click on USB storage and we need to go into the digital camera imaging directory, DCIM, and then to the subfolder, which is the 103 Panasonic, and it will bring up all the files that are currently on that folder. To transfer the ones that we want, again we can just go into one and say select. You've got share, open with, move to, copy to. I'm going to select quite a few, so I'm going to go select, and that then puts us with the option to select other files. So now we've got them selected, we can say where do we want to copy to or move to. If we use move, it will copy the file and delete it from the SD card. But if you use copy to, it will then copy the file and then leave that file intact on the SD card. So we'll do copy to, and it's going to ask me where do I want to store it, and I'm going to store this to internal storage, and I want to store it to photos. So we scroll down there, you can see we've got pictures. Pictures is the directory that we're going to store it under, so select pictures, and then do I want to transfer it to another directory? I'm going to transfer it to LX5, the one we've created, and then we hit the command copy here, so it will transfer those files. It doesn't give an indication as to which one's gone over or whether they've been successful or not. We just need to go back to the gallery. If we want to select those or look at those pictures in selected albums, click on albums, then you need to view all rather than essential, so view all, and you can see all the other albums I've got on there, and there's the one we created with the LX5 and all the new images. So that's how you can see you can transfer the files from your SD card into the Android phone. Let's look now at using the proprietary cable. So as before, I've connected the LX5 via the proprietary cable to the Samsung Galaxy phone using the proprietary cable and the USB-C to USB-A adapter. Again, going through to the files menu, we've got USB storage, So we click on USB storage, and as again DCIM, the Panasonic directory, and then again we can select the images that we require and transfer them to the internal storage and pictures and the LX5 directory, and then copy here. Under the 18th of August, I think these were from last year. Yeah, there's the 18th of August files. If I go into albums and again view all, under LX5 we've got the files we just transferred, and the ones that have been transferred previously will not be overwritten. And so you've seen some basic methods now of transferring files from your cameras to your smartphone, be them iOS devices or Android. Hope that's been helpful. Of course, if you're a new viewer and like what you see here, why not hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon, and you'll be advised when I upload new videos to my channel. So until the next one, thanks again for watching. Please do take care, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye for now.